Marks Financial Literacy Month, and we're here to give you some tips on budgeting, investing, financial planning, and saving.
So, Dean, where do you want to start?
Let's start with credit. Did I mention credit? What if I didn't? We're going to talk about credit. Right now, interest rates are dropping, and what does that mean? The banks are going to start lending out money. You're going to get a knock on the door. When I say knock on the door, I mean phone call or email. Banks are going to reach out to you and be like, hey, you've been pre-approved, or hey, we have this new credit card. Between now and about February, you're going to start to see banks knocking at your door. Why? Because when interest rates are low, banks want to lend out money. So it's cheaper for them to lend it out. So it's like, hey, if we lend out this, it's cheaper for them to lend out the money. So they say, hey, let's lend out this money so that we can make more money. Because if we have all this cash sitting in the bank, we're not making anything.
So Dean, let me ask you a question. One of the biggest misconceptions is that when the banks knock at your door, should you be asking for a pre-approval or should you be giving out your credit score so they can check out to see how much money you could get?
Always go with the pre-approval. Why? Because it's only a soft inquiry. Whereas if you give them your information or you're inquiring to increase your credit or to increase your credit limit, then it's a hard inquiry, and you don't want to do that. Always take the always take the pre-approvals over you having to apply for new credit or increase the amount of credit that you have. Also, if you are unable to manage more money, don't take it.
Yes, I 100% concur with my partner, Dean, because what happens is that if you're taking more money and you don't have a plan for how that money is going to be budgeted or even invested, guess what's going to happen? It's Christmas season, you're going to spend money that you don't have. And remember, when you do get a pre-approval from the bank, it is not your money.
Speaking of Christmas season and budgeting, now's the best time to start budgeting so that you have enough money going into the holiday season. Once January rolls around, the worst month of the year, they had the third week in January is called Blue Monday. And the reason why they call it Blue Monday is because that's when everybody gets their credit card bill from all the spending that they did back in December. So now is the perfect time to start budgeting, and Craig is the budgeting expert. So what are some tips people can use going into the holiday season when it comes to budgeting?
So budget is, I believe, the number one thing that's most overlooked because people think about it, they hear budget, oh, I can do that, I can write it down, but it never turns into reality. So when you are budgeting, the number one thing that you should do is write it down, especially when Christmas season is coming. If you have a budget, it's easier for you to know what you're going to purchase and how you're going to purchase it. Like me, I have a million God kids. So what I like to do is I like to budget and say, hey, here's the amount I'm going to spend and here's the age group because, hey, man, you're over 18, you're not going to get no money from me or a gift. I want to start with the groups. I put budget into how I'm going to spend that money and who's going to get gifts. So when you budget, write things down. I know people are old school. They may not want to write things down, but they have a phone, put it into a phone. You want to be able to know that, hey, if I'm budgeting for $500 for Christmas gifts, you want to make sure that as soon as you hit that mark of 500, you don't go over. And again, and if you do go over, you need to have a reality check to say, hey, I have a budget, I don't want to go over, and this is what I want to do. So write it down, Excel sheet or pen. When you know how much money is coming in, take a look at it. Look at it every other week to say, hey, you know what? This is the money that's coming in. I'm going to use this money for X, Y, and Z. Number three, a second reason, why budget is often overlooked is because people just don't know how to budget. So it's a lot easier for people just to blow their cash as soon as it comes and say, hey, you know what? I don't know how to budget, but this is where you can learn how to budget because if you learn how to budget now, you can use it throughout your lifetime. If you set goals, you want to buy a car, you want to buy a house, budgeting is the best thing to do. Because if you don't budget, you cannot achieve that goal. And often when you're budgeting, you got to have a sacrifice, right? So again, having a sacrifice just only tells yourself your self-discipline to make sure that when you reach that goal or when you're going to attain a goal, you're not going to do things that are going to, backpedal you from not getting to your goal, such as going out for dinner every week, going out with friends, but purchasing things that you just don't need. Again, it's Christmas season, so everyone's going to be red eye. Everyone's going to try to get everything they need to get now. But again, when you create a budget, you know what you want to get, and you ensure that you get it because you don't want to go over it. Because like I said, once you set a budget, don't go over it. Because if you do go over it, you're going to spend money you don't have.
Speaking of budget, and also you mentioned something else. It was I forgot. But with budgeting, something that people can do is, or Black Friday's coming. There's a lot of deals where you can get the stuff now and then save whatever for December, right?
Yep.
But one thing that people could also do in the meantime, or to be proactive instead of reactive, is once the holiday season is done, start budgeting for next year. You put in a little bit now, which falls into saving. So
Yep.
you can say holiday fund. And now if you put like a $20 every week or $50 once a month, now when time comes around, you're already prepared for that season. You say, going back to what you're saying, you said $500 budget, save $500 for next year. If you split that up amongst them across the months, it's about $45 a month. $45 we all have. Why? Because Friday, on the weekends, we're buying the takeouts. We're using the
Ubers.
extra Ubers. Sometimes we don't even want to go to the store to buy the food. We're using the Uber Eats.
Yep.
We're going out with our friends, as you said. So there's always a friend with a birthday. There's always a friend with a kid. So we have this extra money. We just lie to ourselves and say, oh, I don't have it. I can't do that. You can. And the great thing is you can use, so this is a tip for you guys. You can use a stock market as a savings account. Most people don't even know that. You leave it in the bank, guess what the bank does? They just lend out your money 10 times more. So why not take that $50 throw it into the stock market, let it sit there for a year. So come, when it's that time to come, let's say, hypothetically speaking, your money doubles. Now it's free money and you get back the money that you had and you can go and do whatever it is. You can go treat yourself. Maybe
Exactly.
get that weekend getaway that you've always been dreaming of. There's many different things that you could do. Sometimes you just got to get creative with it. Sit down with your family. I know from Craig and myself, we never did budgeting with our moms. It was get your dinner, go upstairs, go downstairs, go to your room, whatever. We didn't eat at the dinner table and say, hey, what's the bills I have to think? And it's not to say that you're in that position where you have to contribute to the bills, but at least to understand what it is to be an adult. Because at the end of the day, we all end up becoming adults, right?
Yes. Yep.
And too often it's like we're left in the dark, or a lot of kids are left in the dark. We were left in the dark and we have to figure it out. And we got to break these cycles, right? We got to have these conversations with our children. That's why for us, we partnered with the TDSB and we go around educating kids, letting them know about these things, right? And not just the kids, but also the parents.
Yep.
Because we want this to be a two-way street, right? Hey, kids learn from us, but we also want to teach the parents so that now they can have these conversations. It becomes normal.
Yeah, because I'll be the first to say the number one budget killer from a mindset perspective is people always tell myself and Dean, I don't have the money to budget. That is a bunch of crock or BS, because if you actively look at your bank account and look line by line, you'll see where first of all, where the money's going and how you're spending it. We notice that when people realize where their money's going and how they're spending it, it's a easier thing to digest and know that, hey, I'm spending $50 a month on Tim Hortons, or $30 on Starbucks, or $100 on Amazon. When you know where your money is going, it's a lot easier to make that reality check with yourself to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to pull back on some of these expenditures, and that's how you could save money. People say, well, I'm too much in debt. No. Put away something small on a weekly basis to contribute to that debt. Again, in order for you to get out of that debt, you can't get out of the debt without contributing nothing. So you got to contribute something. When you're able to realize what you're spending and how the money is flowing throughout your account, that's just a hard reality check for yourself to tell yourself, hey, I got to do X, Y, and Z to ensure I can either pay off this debt or save a little bit towards something. Set a goal, whether it be a vacation, whether it be a car, whether it may be just, hey, you know what, I'm going to go up north for the winter. Set that budget, set that goal so you can work towards it. And again, like Dean said, do it with your family. Make it fun. Entertainment and education. Edutainment. put those things together and make it fun so it doesn't seem like a job. It doesn't seem like it's difficult to do because you're doing it as a fun activity and you're doing it with your family.
You know what's funny? What came to my head? Now I remember what it was. The power of saying no. Many people feel like they're obligated to do these things. It's okay to tell your friends no. I'm just not doing it. And one girl, she's on social media, Harpreet Gill. She's a financial advisor, and she put something up that like really just was mind blowing. She said she wrote a letter to her friends and family and said, "Listen, for the next 6 months, I'm not doing anything. Don't invite me nowhere. Respect my wishes because I have goals that I want to achieve, and these are sacrifices I'm making. It's a short-term sacrifice, but for a long-term gain." Many people think like, "Oh, I got to do this, I got to do it." No, you don't have to do it. Nobody said you have to say yes to everybody. Yes is what causes stress for people.
Yep.
People are afraid of saying the no because of what they think people are going to say to them. People get over things. Everybody gets over it. If you say no today, us as parents, we know. We tell our kids no all the time. So now if you tell your friends no, they're not going to be like, "Yo, I'm never talking to you again," blah, blah, blah. They're going to talk to you still. They're going to love you the exact same way. You're saying no, or you don't have to say no. There's other ways to say it. Oh, hey, I can't make it this time. There's different ways that you can say it. You don't have to say no. If you feel bad about saying no, start looking at yourself in the mirror, telling yourself no. If you're somebody that always goes to Starbucks early in the morning to get, what is it, the lemon loaf that you get?
No, I'm a banana bread guy.
The banana bread, or even a pumpkin spice latte.
Yeah.
You can't tell yourself no. So because you can't tell yourself no, you can't tell other people no. And it starts
exactly
with
right.
yourself. You need to be able to tell yourself no so that you can tell others no. And the next thing was it's the mindset.
The mind
So
psychology. Yeah.
Also with the mindset, it's like, where did you learn this? Like everything, like because you hear other people doing it, it doesn't necessarily have to be the way for you, right? Like,
Yep.
so for example, budgeting. You don't have to budget, you can manage money. And then there's a strategy where you can manage opposed to budgeting. Maybe you don't like the rules of budgeting.
Budgeting,
Okay, let me manage my money. It's my money, but my money's gonna go work for me. So you can create a system where you have, it's called the I can system. So you have 6 different cans, and it's I can if my cans say I can. So whatever money's in your cans, that's what you can do. So between those 6 cans, if you want to learn more about that, just click the link down in the bio, and you can get access to our online course where we deep dive more into these things, right? But having those 6 cans, it literally tells you where to put where your money's going and what it's going to be doing. So it's like, hey, you have to treat your money like little soldiers. Go out there and work for me and make money for this category. And if it's not enough, guess what? Go out there and make more money.
Make more money.
That's all you have
Or
to do.
simply don't do it.
Exactly. So a lot of people are like, "Oh, I can't cut back on this. I can't cut back on that." But you always find money when it's time to find money. So find money to invest in yourself and say, "I need to make more money." So for example, group economics, you can start something like a family business in the house, right?
Yep.
Create a book. There's so many digital products that you can create out there, right? My daughter, she created a book. It's on Amazon. So now if she goes out there, all she has to do is say, "Hey, instead of that birthday money going to toys, let me take that birthday money and put it into my business and run some ads." $5 ads. Imagine getting a $5 ad out there and now you're selling like 20 books.
Yep.
You just multiplied your money. So why wouldn't you want to do that? Start your kids off little by little. Hey, open up, there's like Gumroad, Stand Store, all these different little things that you can do to make money. You don't have to, everyone, the misconception is I need money to start a business. I need good credit to start a business. No, you don't. You just need an idea. An idea that somebody says, "Hey, I'll pay money for that." You go out there and you try to make money. Stop thinking that like whatever they told you out there is the truth. What is it? Not test the truth, not go against it. Find out if it's real. Like say to myself, no, like why is this true? Let me ask the questions, because if you ask the questions, you're gonna find the answer.
You're gonna find the answer.
Searching.
Yep.
So that's something that we definitely need to change. But it's like with the savings, if you save now, it saves you later. Plus you can get stuff on discount. Like after Christmas season, everything's on discount. Just hold it till next year for these kids.
Exactly.
Buy them the clothes, buy it bigger.
Buy bigger.
That's it, right?
That's all you got to do.
Winter jackets, don't buy it in the fall or in the winter, buy it in the summer.
Buy it in the summer, yeah.
Because they want to get rid of that stuff. buy it when it's out of season. Like, you don't need to look fly. Nobody cares what you're wearing. And we learned that the hard way, especially in high school.
Yeah.
Like, we're buying all this stuff and it's like, nobody cares. Like, it's who you are inside that people really care about, right? So we got to change how we think and how we perceive things, especially with our credit, saving, investing, all these things. A lot of people want to say, oh, I don't have money to invest. Going back to what you said, start small, $5 a day.
Yep.
It's like that $5 money turns into big money later. $5 turns into 500. Now you're excited. I got 5 bills. How can I get the next 5 bills?
Exactly.
And you just keep doing it. Or you can say, yo, Craig, I got a 5 bills. How much you got? Oh, you got a 5 bills too? Yo, let's go buy something in the stock market. Or yo, let's go start a business. Or let's go buy some inventory. Let's go buy some books and go sell the books.
Go sell the books.
There's too many things out there. Like, we gotta stop saying I can't. It's like I can, or how can I? Like, whatever you say I can't, say how can I? And once you do that, your whole perspective changes.
I think that when we're pushed, when our backs are against the wall, that's when I guess the creative juices starts coming out. But again, it's hard when you don't have another person to kind of support, that mind frame or support that idea, because what happens is the moment you start talking about something and you haven't done it before, self-sabotage comes in. So you're already telling yourself that, you know what, I can't do it because I don't have the money, I don't have the credit, or I don't have the mindset, or I don't have the knowledge. Dean mentioned there are so many resources out there that can help you support your idea. There's too many things out there that can help support your ideas. So again, I always say no is just a gateway to yes, but how bad do you really want it? I hear so much horror stories as to why people can't do something. They don't have a significant partner that can help them, or they're in a job, they haven't got a raise, or they get one raise a year. So then change that. Do something that you want to do, that you can give yourself a raise every quarter, right? Yep. You got to change your mindset, because what happens is when you get too comfortable, such as I did. I was with a company for 16 years because yes, I was getting a salary increase, and then on top of that, I was getting a bonus every February. But then when I broke down my salary increase, you may get 4,000. Break that down into 26 weeks when you get paid. It was like 50 cents. So what was I really getting excited for? I was getting excited for building someone else's dreams, right? Because they dangle that bonus, they dangle that salary in front of you, and because it's every 2 weeks, you're saying to yourself, hey man, I gotta stay here, or I gotta do it because this is my bread and butter. But remember, when they're ready to restructure or downsize, what happens?
You're the first to go.
You're the first person to get cut.
I definitely experienced that. And it's funny, they have a carrot, but you could also set up your own carrot and dangle it in front of yourself and chase that carrot. I heard something today. Dude said, it's easy to be successful because the majority of people won't do it. And I was like, exactly. That's so true.
Yeah.
It's like, that's why there's the numbers. Everything's a numbers game if you really break it down, right? They say 99% of the people won't do this. And it's true. It's because they'll just sit back and it's mindless entertainment. I can't do it. I can't figure out the steps. You know what the first step is? It's just starting.
Yep.
And you'll figure it out.
Yep.
Treat life like a video game. You picked up the video game and you start playing and you're like, damn, this is hard. But then you keep playing, you're like, yo, this is sick. You know, it's funny, I seen a meme the other day. They said Mario Kart is like one of the games that just increases people's stress level. And it's so true. But if you keep playing the game over and over, you're eventually going to get better. Like, I get killed by my daughter right now.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, how do you beat me every time? She's like, oh, drifting. So I was like, oh, that's your secret, right? But the moment you know that, now you can level up and then you could say, okay, now I'm better than you, or not necessarily better than you, but when you do that, if you just sit there and just give yourself a moment to think, you'll be creative enough to think of a solution for yourself. Yep. Another guy, he put something on, I was watching on Instagram. Sometimes I like watching Instagram for those little quick clips.
Yeah.
And dude's like, if you want to make money, he's like, stop manifesting money. He's like, become a creator. And when he said that, I was just like, because when you want a specific amount of money, you have to go out there and create a way to get that money. Yep. And he said, when you create something, money's a byproduct from it. So when you're manifesting $1 million, I want $1 million, you're just saying that you want it, but it's like, how do you
You're
get
not
the
doing
million,
anything to get
right?
there. Yeah.
But if you say, okay, let me become a creator and create something of value. Because if I create something of value, I can exchange it for money.
Yep.
So when he said that, I was just like, that makes total sense. So for those out there, just sit down with your thoughts and be like, what is it that I can create? It can be a product, a service, whatever it may be. Somebody will pay money for it. And if you think nobody will pay for it, ask 100 people. If all of them say no, okay, on to the next thing.
Yeah.
What do you have to lose by just asking the question? You have nothing to lose, but everything to gain.
Everything again. And myself and Dean, we've been through it. They say practice makes perfect. It's actually practice makes progress. We've been through the door. Well, actually, we've been at the doors when they've been slammed. People telling us no, 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 and or we had to learn how to get in front of the camera and speak about what we're doing, because at first we were hiding behind it, and when we were hiding behind it, it wasn't going to work, because without people knowing who you are, know, like, and trust, it's going to be something that's difficult for people to, be connected to what you're doing. And ever since we started coming on the camera, going on Instagram, just started being more vocal, we started to see that people believed in us. And when people start to believe in you, you start believing in yourself a lot more. To say, oh my gosh, like, I'm really doing this because people actually really like what I'm doing. So again, if you're going to start something, like Dean said, ask 100 people. And if that word is no, try something else. Again, we're not saying to give up, but you just got to pivot and try something else, because you would eventually get there. Again, just think about it. Just think about being a songwriter, and you've written over 100 songs. It takes that one song to someone to listen to and get it to the major platforms for it to stream 1 billion streams, right? Yeah. So you just got to keep owning your craft, keep practicing, keep progressing, and keep on the path, because the moment that, and it's not going to be easy. You're going to get bumped off. There are days that you're not going to want to get up and do a lot of things, because, again, the last 3 days just weren't progressive days. But the minute that you get back on the horse, things start to happen. Like I said, with us, we've knocked at the TDSB door 1 million times before we finally got through. So if you love what you do and you're passionate about what you're doing, there is space for it. You just got to keep moving.
Also, celebrate your wins. People
Yep.
don't do that often enough. Tell people, hey, I'm celebrating this, or I'm proud of myself for doing that. Like, you have to give yourself sometimes a pat yourself on the back. Look, that self-talk in the mirror, whatever it may be. You have to start practicing self-love, because at the end of the day, you can't depend on other people. You can only depend on yourself. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, it's like, it could even be just a $5. I saved $5 today, or I used my debit card instead of my credit card to avoid the interest payments, something like that, Those little things add up over time. Keep a reflection diary of all these little wins that you had, so that anytime you're stumped or you're down, you could just look back and be like, yo, I've come a long way.
Exactly.
Simple things like that,
Simple things. And like I said, we talked about credit, we talked about budgeting, and even when we talk about, as we go into investing, I always hear people say, hey, what can I do to make more money? The number one thing that you got to do is invest in yourself. That's key, but don't make it so difficult when it comes to investing. People like to make things so complex that they walk themselves right out of an opportunity because they're overthinking it, right? Or they've heard something. Again, do your research yourself, right? So you have to make sure that when you're trying to think about what you want to invest in, try to keep it simple.
I'm going to leave it at this. If you have to ask the question, you might as well just stick with your job, because you're looking for somebody to give you the answer to your issues. And sometimes nobody's going to have the answer for you. So what are you going to do? You're just going to sit back and just be like, oh, what do I do? What do I sell? If you have to ask somebody what it is that you have to sell or to invest in, you're better off with a job, because they'll tell you everything that you need to do at that point. What do you invest in? Oh, invest in the company's stock portfolio, or invest in your RSP. That's what they'll tell you to invest in. So there's your investment. What do I do or what do I sell? Whatever your boss tells you to do and sell. That's the solution for you. If you're looking above and beyond, then you go out there and look for solutions. A book I read, that a pretty good book, One Up on Wall Street by Peter Lynch. He wrote something in there that just it was so mind-boggling but so true. When it comes to real estate, and I would say 99% of the people never bought real estate. They had no advice from nobody and just jumped into it, guns blazing. And to come to find out, oh, you need closing costs, you need this, you need that, not knowing nothing. But when it's the stock market, it's a 360. Like, they don't know what to do or they stay away from it. They're too afraid. And it's like, in my opinion, you're investing in companies that are making money. Well, I'm hoping that you're investing in the right ones, right? So let's just say you're the top 10 in America. You're going with the top 10. If those guys make money and they've been doing it for the last 30 years, why would you not trust them? And it's like, if you went in to buy a house that costs way more money and you're putting a couple $100s here, but it's like the couple $100, you're more afraid to lose that than the potential of losing your down payment or whatever other money that you put into it because you didn't know the ins and outs of purchasing a home, which was so mind-boggling for me. But it's like, take that same strength you have over here and put that into investing. And if it's that little research, if you just check, there's a simple thing that you guys could do. If you go to Google, I think it's Google, what's it called? Google, let me find the thing. It's Google, shoot, I can't remember the name, but there's a function that Google has where you can put in keywords and it sends you emails either every day or weekly. So if you want to learn about a company, for example, Apple, you put Apple in there and then it will send you anytime Apple pops up in the news, it'll send it directly to you. So now you can keep up to date with Apple. You go read Apple's reports. If you're a shareholder, when they have stockholder meetings, you go and you listen to them because now you can do it over the phone. You don't have to go directly to them. Like, use technology to your advantage. I wish I remember what that name was. Google something. What is it?
It's just people make it so difficult. And then, like you mentioned, when I find that when people are asking you what to invest in, you become a guinea pig because then when you ask somebody, you take their word for it. And then you don't know, then you don't do the necessary research that you need to do to ensure that your money is being properly invested. And when that happens, your money, you often lose your money because now you're depending on someone else to get you where you need to go, wherever it may be. And again, you just have to have a strong purpose as to why you're investing and what you're investing into. Without purpose or knowledge, you're just throwing away your money.
Yeah, having your game plan. Once you have your game plan set up, everything just falls in line for itself. It's like playing checkers, or not checkers. It's like playing chess. Because you have to have strategic moves. It's like, hey, end goal is to beat the opponent. Same way it works in life. It's like, how are you going to beat that opponent? And the opponent's the other person on the other side waiting for you to sell. So it's like, okay, how do I get this at a discount so that I'm the one that's going to win in the end? And that's all you need to do when it comes to investing. What am I investing for? What's my exit strategy? And that's it. You just go in with that.
So again, like I said, it is November. It is Financial Literacy Month. We'll be here to discuss many things during the month of November. And again, it's just not November. I know they specify November being Financial Literacy Month, but financial literacy you should be learning on an everyday basis. It's ongoing learning. It's never going to stop learning. And in order for us to, have our kids ensure that they are fundamentally sound when it comes to financial literacy, it's the open dialogue conversations that we need to have on a daily basis. Just being able to have those in-depth conversations and sometimes those embarrassing conversations, because these are the conversations that Dean and I had, when we were starting this journey. They were only embarrassing because we didn't have the confidence to speak to one another about it. So again, that's just a mind thing. Always wondering what a person might say about your financial journey. Your financial journey is exactly what it is. It's your financial journey. Only you can make the decisions to make sure that that journey goes to the promised land, or goes to where it needs to go. Again, there will be bumps in the road. There will be times and may have anxiety as to what you're doing, and you may lose your purpose, but you need to get around the right people, the right like-minded people to get you back on the horse, because it's never going to be perfect.
Yep. So that wraps up this session. If you want to see more episodes like this, leave a check in the comments, because I don't see many financial podcasts, Canadian financial podcasts like this, right? So if you guys want to see us make a podcast, leave it down in the comments. Peace.